020, roger.
Let's go 100 meters, 020. Thank you.
I'll come up with it.
All right, roger.
So for those of you just joining us, we are at 3,057 meters.
Hold what you got for a second, Jake.
Holding it.
Come up. Under you.
We are on the southwest flank of Davidson Seamount in Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. And we are flying around looking for octopus. We are doing some exploring in areas that
Bring your head to the
have
left and look up. There it is.
have not had any ROV dives before. This is pretty exciting.
There you are.
And Davidson Seamount is an extinct volcano. And if you look at these rocks, they look like lava flows and tubes. It's quite fascinating to me.
Okay, off we go.
There's a fish. How exciting.
So down these depths, we see fish like the grenadier. They are cruisers, they are scavengers. And we also have been seeing earlier tonight a lot of the giant cusk eel, some very large ones. And what else did we see? A couple of zoarcids, they're called eel pouts. But down here, the most common are the grenadier and the giant cusk eel. So they might be swimming around us. We're just not seeing them in the view of the camera.
There was one snailfish before our shift change. It was a little darker in color than I'm used to seeing. They're pretty neat deep sea species. They don't have scales. They are pretty unusual, adapted for deep sea living.
I think we saw one on our previous dive, snailfish.
Yeah, exactly.
And snailfish have a modified pelvic fin under their chin, and it acts as a sucker. So it can latch onto rocks to keep in place. But they all the different species of that group have different types of suckers. So some, especially in the near shore and shallow areas, they'll have a really good sucker to adhere onto rocks in that tidal swath. But down in the deep sea, I think it's a little less useful, but they can still use it in some regard.
Is that why they're called the snailfish?
Yep, I think so.
We haven't had any thorny head. Is that a zoarcid down here to the left?
I think that is a giant cusk eel. And where we are right now is too deep for thorny head rockfish. They don't come down this deep, but they are found at the top of the seamount. The top of the seamount is at about 1,250 meters of water. And right now we're over 3,000 meters. So I think, I'm not sure where they stop occurring. Definitely by 2,000, they're probably gone. So they get replaced by other fish.
Bridge nav. Increase speed to 0.4. Thank you.
0.5
0.5.
forever.
Yeah, it looks like we'll be flat for a bit, so we won't have to worry about flying up a wall.
Great.
Well, flat
It's
is
pretty
relative,
fun on
but
this 12 to 4 a.m. Time shift locally that we get all these people calling in from the other side of the world. It's pretty fantastic.
yeah, that is pretty cool. It's good to know there's other people awake at this ungodly hour. It's actually not so bad. I prefer it.
I'm going to step away for 3 minutes or less. I'll be right back. But if you want to Zoom, or Kirsten, if you want to collect something, feel free.
All right. Justin, feel free to send me any questions or comments. Justin, you can also feel free to jump on V-Link.
I'm back.
You're back. That was fast. It's like a little coral up on the top.
Oh yeah, I think that's another chrysogorgian,
Yeah,
maybe.
super delicate.
Hmm.
When we saw the Chrysogorgia pinnata earlier, that was really very much in one plane, kind of shockingly so. This is denser than the one that we collected, much more kind of bush-like.
Yeah, I think this
For a
is
quick zoom there,
Chrysogorgia
Steve.
monticola. So this is a species that was
That's good,
recently
thanks.
described. Yeah, it's very cool.
It does feel different than the one that we collected, but you know, there is individual variation that
Okay, zoom up. Grab a little
Thanks for
leash
the Zoom.
now.
so we continue to have this habitat with rocky lava pillows and a lot of sediment in between. And so this is not ideal habitat for the birding octopus that we've seen in other parts of these environs. But we are taking a pass over this area for the first time to get a lay of the land, as they say.
Hello, everyone. I'm trying to join in on VLink. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Justin.
Hey, everyone. I've missed you.
We've missed you too.
You've been busy forming, what was that club?
I have many clubs. You'll need to be more specific. It's like sponges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Un-
going to say.
Unidentified Justin Club number 9 is
Yeah.
still being described. Well, I was going to encourage all our listeners that if you have any questions, we have our questions from the public period for another half hour. So feel free to go to nautiluslive.org and put in your questions, and I will do my best to relay them to our fabulous team. You guys have been doing such a nice job replying to questions, and we'd love some more. So what better thing to do while exploring areas that have never been explored before than take questions from the public and look for octopus?
That's a cool Argus shot.
If you look at these pillow basalts, you might imagine how they might have been extruded slowly from the seamount. I think they were slow. That's why they look like this. Looks so cool.
I guess you wouldn't have heard what I was just talking about while I had my audio turned off. But I was just saying that also talking about the pillow lava, and that often we've had our geologist, Guy Cochran, on, and I was lamenting that he's not on to enjoy these really cool rocks.
That's an acorn worm, that whole
Zoom in on the
structure in the
worm there,
middle.
Steve.
Yeah. And there's also a squat lobster to the right of him. Not a true lobster, but they look like lobsters. Yeah, these acorn worms. These acorn worms are very closely related to humans, which is strange to think about.
What?
It's a
I can see it.
It's a urochordate. It's just a step below vertebrates on the phylogenetic tree.
So it's
Believe
not
it or
not a
not.
chordate yet.
No.
Are you saying that's what my intestines look like? Zoom in there a little more, Steve. That's good, thanks. Seems a little stopped up there.
I think we should move on before.
So these can sometimes bury in the sediment and just have the front proboscis out. And I don't know what those side things are. They might be feelers of some sort.
Yeah, really cool landscape. Pillowy lava.
This is one of those I think I can answer on my own. Somebody just submitted the question, is this actually live? And it is actually live. We're all here with you live right now.
And I think you had a question earlier. Someone was asking, what's our local time? So our local Pacific Daylight Time is 1:38 a.m. on Sunday. So depending on where you're tuned in, you can sort of figure out what time zone that is. Well, you know where you are, but now you know where we are.
We did get
Justin,
a
do you have
question
the
of,
capability to chat back with these folks, or is it just verbal?
it's just verbal. Yeah, no, I can't. That would keep me really busy. But yeah, no, it's kind of verbal, but they're hearing responses, and often I put a couple of those into the science chat that people respond. Oh, thanks for answering my question. Nice to hear from people. We did have a question of where the ship is right now, and why does the stream never end?
Some of us are asking that same question. But the ship right now, we're at Davidson Seamount, off of Monterey Bay. We're not at the seamount. We're
Try
at
to zoom there, Steve.
a site just southwest of it, I believe.
Should be able to get a pull-up zoom out of that one if I don't wreck it.
So that is a bamboo coral. The jury is out on what kind it is. We've been looking at several of these tonight, and an octocoral expert was on the previous shift trying to figure that out. It could be lepidisis. It could be something else. And in terms of where we are, some of you around the world might be familiar with Hearst Castle, which is in San Simeon, California. So we are about due west of Hearst Castle. William Randolph Hearst was an owner of a San Francisco newspaper, among other things, but he has this huge mansion that he built in San Simeon area. So that's generally where we're located, about, I should see how many miles, but we're off the coast of that.
I remember seeing that castle when we were transiting south a couple years ago. But I don't think we're close enough to see it now.
Oh, that's right. I think we were on when we passed it. I was there with you, Steve.
Yeah.
Part of the question was about that we just kind of keep going. Yes, these dives are quite long, actually. You know, it took, what was it, 2.5 hours to get down to this depth. Is that about right?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
And
So we really
down
try.
too.
Yeah, so it could take even longer, but we really try and maximize bottom time by doing very long dives. Sometimes the dives are longer than 24 hours. And so we have shifts, 4-hour shifts. So Erica and I are the scientists that are on the 12 to 4 a.m. shift, and we have been so lucky to be paired with such an awesome navigation, video, ROV pilot team.
Zoom there, Steve.
And we have all been working together midnight to 4 a.m. and
Good,
noon
thanks.
to 4 p.m. Oh, it's got a little friend on its head there.
I would so be doing the spider dance if that was on my head.
Yeah.
Dan, I get the sense you're not a big fan of spiders or crabs. Is that true?
Not really, no. Any creepy crawlies freak me out.
I think I picked that up watching you on the Olympic Coast dives.
He likes to keep 3,000 meters between him and this stuff.
thing there will give me bad dreams tonight, probably. Okay, moving on.
So I just looked up our distance. San Simeon is about 75 miles away from the center of Davidson Seamount, and we're a little farther.
Breaking up at an unfortunate time.
Bummer. Maybe I'll go out and back in.
You sound good right now.
Get a quick
Good.
zoom on that guy, Steve.
Quantum V-Link, it only acts up
Tulip
when you start
sponge.
talking.
So speaking of San Simeon, and interrupt me if you want to talk about the sponge. San Simeon is also the location of a northern elephant
Can I
seal
interrupt,
breeding
Kirsten?
site.
May,
Please do.
may I interrupt?
It's beautiful.
Do we have time to collect this? I think it's on our urgent list.
Sure, yeah.
Great. Sorry, Kirsten.
I'll just finish my thought and then.
Hold position.
You want the tulip sponge, do you?
Say again?
Are you wanting to collect the tulip sponge, are you?
Yes, please.
Zoom in there, Steve. I'll get a few shots of it first for me. That's good, thanks.
Port side on?
Yes, please.
It really does look like a tulip, doesn't it?
You move the bubble cam to the right just a bit for me. Good. Where is it? Thanks.
Any idea what that white circle is to the left?
Some kind of encrusting
think that is
tunicate or sponge. Sorry, you would know better.
I think it might be at the start of another sponge.
Oh. It's pretty cool.
Crumbly rock.
Friable. Indeed.
So one of the fantastic things about working on an ROV research cruise is to be able to see these specimens once they come up and get offloaded onto the ship. We all rush into the lab and get to see these things in person, and it is really hard to not be there and participate in that.
Could we get lasers before we bring it in?
Yep, lasers coming on. Oh, they're already on.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, there's data view.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay.
Erica,
Great,
do you know
thank you.
who put this on the list?
Can I put this in the front box? Seems pretty.
Yeah, you could put it in bio box B in the front.
Yep.
Or
Okay.
Omega, I think.
Yep. Open, open, open.
Abigail might have wanted this, or someone else earlier tonight. I don't remember.
Come
And
on.
do we want to do?
Nice.
Oh,
Probably don't want the rock,
beautiful.
or do you want the rock?
I
Ooh,
don't
that's perfect. You
think
can get rid of
so.
you can get rid of that rock. We don't need
Okay,
that.
close,
But the
close,
one that's up,
close.
you're good.
Coming in.
Exhilarating.
Yeah.
Not a moment to spare.
Yes. So
Argus is now driving Herc, so I gotta turn him.
yeah, I stepped back, but we were too far laid back. So
Yeah, it's
a fun game.
it is a fun game. Okay, where am I?
We should be heading
Getting
to,
drugged somewhere across
yeah,
the Pacific Ocean.
that's probably
Turn
accurate.
the porch light on.
Yes.
Off, please.
Thank
Can-
you. That was great.
Drive by Argus butt cam. I saw you in there.
So I took a little bit too much time on that one.
That's all right. Delicate. Surprised we were able to get it.
I am very impressed by your driving skills, but it terrified me to see you holding that rock above that beautiful sponge. I was
It terrified me too,
squirming.
on the edge of our seat there. I didn't
I
expect
was
the
like,
rock
I
to break.
might.
Dan's.
Smash.
It was part of his master plan.
It was like, I might cry.
We,
It's possible.
we almost lost it there. The Argus started dragging Herc around, and so I turned the thrusters off just to let it kind of float, but it yanks you around by the tail quite violently, and still getting yanked by the tail. Can you? There's nothing you can do. See if I can come around now.
Shall I finish my story about elephant seals?
Please do.
So San Simeon, where Hearst Castle is, so east of here, is also a elephant seal rookery. And elephant seals are absolutely phenomenal divers. They can't quite dive to this depth, so we are at 2 miles beneath the surface, but they can dive well more than a mile beneath the surface to feed. And so this is pretty incredible that they are such deep sea creatures without the ROVs and tethers or tanks or gas. They are just designed to push gases into their bloodstream so that their lungs don't have to work.
Wow.
And they come down here for incredibly long periods of time. And we're not talking minutes. We're talking, I would need to look it up. But incredibly long
Come
periods
down
of
5.
time.
Yeah, I can probably come down now.
We have found out here at Davidson Seamount rocks that sea lions have delivered. They will swallow them for ballast,
What?
Wow.
and then they extrude them out here. So the geologist said this is not a rock from here. This is a rock from the coast that sea lions have brought out here in their
Wow.
diving. I find that hard to believe, but I will have to believe them.
I have not heard that. That's really cool.
So they fully swallow them
So-
rather than just carry them in their mouth?
That's what I understand. Crazy.
They use their mouth, well, obviously for eating, but also they're like their hands. You know, if they're interacting with each other, checking something out, they're using their mouth like a dog does.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that that makes sense to me. So I've looked it up, elephant seals. Does anyone want to guess how long they could hold their breath for?
3 hours.
Ja, you overshot. 2 hours.
2 hours.
Wow.
Amazing.
So I hope someday you guys see a elephant seal down with an ROV. Octopus.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
Is it a moose octopus?
so
It's the right color.
It looks
We'll have to look.
like it.
Good eye.
Can we zoom?
yeah.
Hmm.
Mm,
That might be a different species.
yeah, it's slow.
The eye is super big.
Yeah,
That might be bent octopus. Let me check.
it does look like it has multiple rows of suckers. Or maybe not.
Well, as long as we get good footage, but I think it's a different species. But it's promising that we might see some more octopus up here.
Oh, it's beautiful. Look at it. So that's a good lead into let people know that all of this this exploration data video that we are collecting as we go is going to be reviewed and kind of post-processed by a lot of different experts in different specialties. This looks like a female,
Change
actually,
course
right?
2030.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Oh, maybe
let's see.
not.
There comes
No.
the third. I can't see the third leg.
On the other side, maybe it was modified.
I think it might have been a male. I think I saw the hetero, how do you say it?
Yeah.
Cocculus?
On the right
Collis?
side, I think I saw that a modified tip to the third arm back from the front.
Yep.
All right, thank you for that.
See if we got looking.
Yeah, you can see it there.
I'm not sure. I don't get the impression they saw any yet. But yeah.
Well, we can move on.
It's a nice shot of the eye.
I think we can move on. Thank you.
Oh, you're not.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't on SPO. I'm just waiting for Argus to get going
Oh,
again
okay.
after our tulip sponge sample.
Okay, no
I would have
problem.
ran out of leash anyway, so it's a good place to watch the octopus for a minute. Or a minute, 30 seconds, something like that.
That was great footage.
We're moving north now, are we?
Right now we're at 030.
030, roger.
We have just a few more minutes before Justin gets some sleep. So if anyone has any questions, we're going to be closing the chat or question line down in just a few minutes.
Yeah, what do these octopus eat? That's what I want to know. My 12-year-old really wants to know that too. He keeps asking me, so.
Okay, I'll look it up. There's another question of how many species might we find here. We know of 3 that occur at Davidson. The first one is what we're looking for, Musoctopus robustus. The one we just saw, I think, is Bentha-octopus. And then we also see Granelodoni boreopacifica. And now I'll look for your food question. Hold on.
Oh, we have a cool stalked sponge right here in front of us. It looks like a little capped mushroom with some friends along its stalk.
Zoom in a bit there if you want, Steve. Good, thanks.
So the octopus we just saw feeds on fishes, crabs, and other small crustaceans. And so I would assume that the other octopus we see do the same.
Yeah, we
So we
came up.
have some crinoid or feather stars that are catching some elevation on the stalk of this mushroom. Sorry, it's not a mushroom. It's a stalked sponge. And so these crinoids are trying to get up into the water column so that they can catch food as they go by. Sorry, I cut you off, Dan.
Okay, zoom up, please. Thanks. Quick
Tubor.
zoom on the blast the porch light there.
Yeah, got it on.
Kirsten, you have a,
full zoom there, Steve.
a question in the chat box.
Full zoom. That's cool.
Thank you.
One of them just went in.
Apparently he was full.
Did you say that I don't think I can see them.
On the science chat?
I'm on science chat, but I don't see any questions.
Okay, well, refresh and I'll tell you one of them. And then there's another one for you from Norway.
Okay, sorry, zoom out. Time to go.
Oh,
Thanks for the zoom, that's cool.
Bridge snap.
got bumped out. It will take me a second. You want to read
Yeah.
it to me?
So there's one question. How can you tell which arm is the third arm? Where are they counting from?
Okay, so from the midline of the animal. So if you are the animal and you are looking forward, you've got one arm on the left and one on the right. So then you're going to be counting back from that number one arm on either side. So you would go back 3 arms in one direction.
Zoom in a bit there if you want on the way back.
Tiny little bowl shape.
That's a good looking sponge.
I thought that you count in to the right, starting on the right for the first one.
Right,
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So not in either
So it
direction,
should be around
just on the right side.
And it could be around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, depending on where that arm is. So the third one from the front and center to the right.
Thanks, Steve.
My chat had crashed. Sorry, I didn't realize that questions were coming in.
So there's one from Norway, and I don't quite understand it, but you'll probably understand it. So there's a question, what are those sea star looking things crawling around on the floor of the ocean with noodle arms and a circular main body? So those are most likely brittle stars. They have a disc in the middle with long spindly arms around. And sometimes they lay on the surface, and sometimes they'll bury that disc with their arms up in the air.
Octo something there.
So,
Is that an octocoral?
Zoom in there, Steve.
That is strange.
This triple branch there?
Yeah.
yeah, so that is a mushroom coral.
Sorry.
And it's weird to have 3. It usually will have 2.
Huh.
And it's called Bathy alcyon. So it's related to that mushroom soft coral that we often see.
Oh.
That's sort of reddish or pink.
Never
This is a
seen one with
relative.
3 like that.
I hadn't either. I've seen 1 and 2, but never 3.
Zoom
That's
in
just
a
an
bit more
oddball.
there. All right, good, thanks. Maybe out just a bit.
It reminds me of aloe plants every time.
Yeah.
Zoom out just a bit. Thanks.
Nice.
Okay, moving on.
Huge sponge there.
You're right beneath.
What's that?
You're right beneath.
Yep.
Argus.
Right. I'm gonna make up some ground here. It's gonna be downhill, is it?
Yeah, eventually. Hopefully not too steep downhill.
Roger.
Does anyone know which
So
direction we are from the octocone or the octopus garden?
Sure. Let me just pull up my map of it. Don't have it in my head. I think we are west of it. Maybe a bit southwest of it.
during this dive, we are making our way to waypoint A12, which Chad, our cruise leader, has high hopes for, that it might sort of mimic the octocone or be similar to it. So that'll probably come up in his dive, which will be apropos.
Nice.
But we are trying to get there. Yeah. So we're seeing a few species of cucumber, white trumpet sponge, a stalked crinoid, that's the yellow species, and some sea stars. Another one of those tulip sponges, so that's good to know that there's a few down here. Another acorn worm.
I cut out just for a second, so I don't know if you addressed this, but we have Kim from Norway asking about the renaming of the left manipulator arm on Herc. Does anybody know about this? It was changed. I think its name is Mongo, but it was maybe changed to Mango. Is this a thing?
I'm not sure what the party line is there. It's actually a Magnum, is what the manufacturer calls it.
Okay.
Yeah, and Dan was calling it the 5 function, although it, what did you say? It does actually have 7, is that what you said?
I told you I failed math horribly. So
Yeah, calling them
can't
by the
count.
proper
In
names.
a pinch, maybe.
Yeah.
It could be used for 7.
I'm used to vehicles with 5 on one side, 7 on the other. It's lingo that we usually use.
That's a pretty cool feature here. lava
stream bed.
flow over the
Mm.
sediment, perhaps,
Mm.
or maybe the other way around. It
Two
got filled in.
Two species of black coral, they're next to each other.
Whereabouts in Norway is Tim from?
We'll have to get back to you on that.
Rennie, are we climbing up a little bit of a slope here?
Just from what I'm seeing in Hercules sonar and Argus, yeah, perhaps a little bit. And then once we get to the top, it's all pretty flat up here. It's just slight. And then we're gonna have to get downslope to go to A10. So we're just kind of just around at the crest of this feature at the top.
Okay. During our shift change, the watch lead said that A10 is probably very similar to where they were at waypoint A6, and it was not of interest.
Okay.
So depending on timing, we may just skip A10 and move down to A11 or through the water column. But if we have oodles
Zoom
of
in on
time,
the
then we could
lobster
just
there.
Sure. What I
we can
think
stick
is
around, but
I'll zoom out a couple clicks on HiPAC, and from what I'm seeing with
Good,
this
thanks.
slope is I think we'll be able to still have stuff in sight, not in the water column. So I think we can still stay at the seafloor until A10, and then perhaps
okay.
A10 to the flat bit beyond it. That's a bit of a steep slope, so we'll see what we can get on the way down, but we'll definitely go past it and then reacquire the bottom
Okay, that's good to know.
on our way
Thanks.
towards 10. And thankfully, A10 and A11 for where we are right now is kind of a direct line of sight. So got to go through one to get to the other.
Great.
But I hear that, and I will make sure if we're not seeing anything spectacular there, we'll just keep going.
Thanks.
It looks like Justin is signing off now, and he wants to thank everyone for their questions, and we thank everyone for their questions and for keeping us awake at this time of the night. And thanks to our team for answers. Obviously, it takes a little bit of interdisciplinary teamwork to answer all the questions that you all come up with. So it's fun for us to hear the answers for sure. And so good night, Justin, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us and opening the chat line.
All right,
Yeah,
Justin.
thank you, Justin.
Yeah, thank you.
Kind of funny, this yellow brick road we have in Argus. We're kind of driving right along it, that sediment
Totally.
patch. Yeah, it's like here's the highway. Reminds me of Wally driving on his path on the seafloor. Bridge nav. Change course to 060. Thank you.
It's pretty sparse in here, so I'm just wondering if this isn't a place that gets a lot of current. The rocks are big enough to handle a coral growing on it. So it's curious how some places are really good for coral growth or sponge growth, and some are just sort of to pocket. We are seeing a variety, but just not of high density.
It's really interesting the different species of holothurians that dominate an area and how different they can be, not only depth gradients, but also just at different sites.
I think you're tugging on me a bit.
Right. And come down
I'm
5.
coming down right now, yeah.
Sit here for a minute. I'll wait for the Argus.
I think it'll still go a bit 030 before it makes that swing.
Yeah, Reg.
Maybe it'll turn around you while you're sitting there.
So these
Can we zoom
boulders have a
into the
really different
critters on the sponge?
texture on the top and the bottom. Do we think that's from deposition from above hiding the lumps, or do we think it's something about the rock? Any ideas?
Maybe the how fast the lava was coming out. The tops may have come out faster and they were smoother, and the bottoms come out a little slower, so they percolate or something underneath. I'm not sure.
Need to wake Guy up so he can answer our questions.
If we have the time, can we zoom in on that sponge and rock area, see what critters are living within that sponge?
Yeah. Yep, I'm gonna start pulling you, I think. I'm gonna start pulling you pretty good in a second.
Sorry, that's our tail getting tugged there.
No problem.
Gotta go.
I think you need to go 315, something like that. Or at least north, yeah.
I feel very lucky to have such, I'm knocking on wood, such good comms on this shift compared to what everyone went through last shift.
Yeah, I heard there's a bit of difficulties.
Come up a little bit there. Getting a little bit low. That's good. Hold it there for a sec until I get back.
Erica, you mentioned that you were working on a revision of the original Davidson field guide. Is that just a work in progress, or is that something, an outcome from this dive?
It's a work in progress. We've been to Davidson. We went in 2002, 2006, and then little bits here and there since then. And every time we go, we find new things. So I've been adding to it. And after it gets to a certain point, I'm thinking, oh, I really need to revise the online guide. It's a PDF. But we have gotten sidetracked because we're doing a lot of work at Sur Ridge, which is just west of Big Sur. And so I also created one for Sur Ridge. But luckily, some of the species overlap. So they kind of work in tandem a little bit. But I really need to, I guess, update the Davidson one because I was hoping to do it after last year's Nautilus cruise, but it just didn't happen because with Nautilus we found so many other new things. And just like this cruise, we're finding new things. So it's just one of those things that's ongoing when I get the time.
Never ending.
But it has proved useful. Never ending. I mean, every time we go, there's something new. So
Yeah, a friend of
one
mine
day
just
I'll get
published
it
a
done.
paper 2 days ago, or maybe it was in my inbox 1 day ago or something. He said he's a professor at University of Maryland, and he said he started it at the beginning of his PhD. So that was 5 to 10 years ago. It's like, oh, I got it done. It was like an overarching review of something, so not exactly
And they take
timely.
a long time.
Yeah.
And with species guides, as soon as you finish it, it's out of date because you're going to find new things the next time you go out. So it's just one of those revolving doors.
Yeah. Well, look at this. Would you look at this slope?
Yikes.
Yeah. Kind of cool. Just gonna do a quick DVL reset to something more reasonable.
It feels kind of lonely without questions from the world.
Yeah. So here in the control van, we have our, let's see, 4 of the ops team in the front and 1 science in the back. And normally we have a science communication fellow and 1 or 2 scientists also on watch with us. So we're a bit lonely in here as well. So.
And it's a larger van than it used to be.
Yeah. A lot of room for activities now.
My trusty sidekick border collie is headed to bed a long time ago.
Quick
so
zoom on
we're
that
getting
guy,
to-
Steve.
That looks like our encrusting octocoral, isn't that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
that's what
does.
it looks like.
Yep. Good call.
Interesting.
Someone called it the boa,
Oh yeah.
feather boa coral or something.